Before I give you the full script, here's your quick cheat sheet. This morning coffee has 5 add-ins: cinnamon, cocoa powder, coconut oil, maca powder, and a timing trick. That's it. Now let me explain why each one matters and how to do it right. If you're over 50 and you're still drinking your coffee black with nothing in it, or worse, loaded up with sugar and flavored creamer, you might be working against yourself every single morning without even knowing it. I'm not saying coffee is bad. I'm saying most guys are drinking it wrong, and it's costing them energy, circulation, and performance where it counts. I'm Dr. Grace Holloway. I've been practicing urology for over 20 years now, right here in the States, and I've worked with thousands of men, guys in their 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, who came to me frustrated, embarrassed, and convinced their best days were behind them. And you know what I found after 2 decades of doing this? Most of the time, the fix isn't some expensive prescription or a complicated procedure. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as what's sitting in your coffee mug every morning. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to walk you through 5 simple changes to your morning coffee that can support better blood flow, steadier hormones, and stronger mornings. No pills, no pumps, no awkward pharmacy runs, just stuff you probably already have in your kitchen. And I'm going to keep this straightforward because I know nobody wants to sit through a 20-minute lecture just to find out they should have been adding cinnamon. So let's get into it. First, you got to understand what's actually happening in your body after 50. Erections aren't just about being in the mood. They're hydraulic events. That's a medical term. But think of it this way. Your body has to push blood into very small, very delicate vessels. And I mean small. The blood vessels in the penis are some of the tiniest in your entire body. They're actually the first ones to show damage when your circulation starts slowing down. That's why erection problems are often an early warning sign for heart issues. Same plumbing, different location. After 50, a few things start happening all at once. Your blood vessels get stiffer. Your nerves become less responsive. And testosterone, that hormone that's been driving your confidence and your energy your whole life, it starts dipping year after year. Most guys think low testosterone is the whole problem, but it's really only one piece. You need 3 things working together: good blood flow, balanced hormones, and healthy nerve signals. When any one of those falls off, mornings get weaker, shorter, or they just stop showing up altogether. Now here's where your morning coffee fits into all of this. Plain black coffee gives you a quick jolt. You feel that caffeine buzz, your heart rate picks up, and for about 30 minutes you feel like you could conquer the world. But then what happens? The crash. Your cortisol spikes, your blood sugar wobbles, and instead of helping your circulation, that cup of coffee actually ends up working against you. It's like putting regular gas in a truck that needs diesel. It'll run for a little while, but you're not doing it any favors long term. The good news? With a few cheap, simple additions, you can turn that same cup of coffee into something that actually supports your body instead of fighting it. Let me show you how. Change number 1. Add half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now I know what you're thinking. Cinnamon? Really? That's a dessert spice. But hear me out, because cinnamon is one of the most powerful natural blood sugar regulators we know of. And blood sugar matters a lot more than most guys realize. When your blood sugar spikes and crashes throughout the day, it damages the lining of your blood vessels, and we just talked about how important those vessels are. Stable blood sugar means healthier vessel walls, which means better circulation to every part of your body, including the parts you care about most. I had a patient a few years back, a 58-year-old guy, worked construction his whole life, tough as nails. He came in complaining about afternoon energy crashes and weaker mornings. I suggested he start with just half a teaspoon of cinnamon in his morning coffee. Nothing else changed. Same diet, same routine. About 3 weeks later, he came back and told me his energy had leveled out through the whole day. No more 2 p.m. crashes. And then he got a little red in the face and said his wife had noticed a difference too. He thought it was a fluke, but it wasn't. When you stabilize your blood sugar, your blood vessels work better. Period. Here's my advice. Start with half a teaspoon. Use pure ground cinnamon, not the sugary cinnamon blends you find in the baking aisle. Ceylon cinnamon is ideal if you can find it, but regular cinnamon works too. It adds this warm, almost mocha-like flavor to your coffee. Most guys end up really liking it. Change number 2. Stir in a teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa powder. And I mean pure cocoa, not Swiss Miss, not Nesquik, not the hot chocolate packets with marshmallows. Pure, unsweetened cocoa powder, the kind that's bitter when you taste it by itself. Why cocoa? Because it's loaded with flavanols. These are natural compounds that help your body produce nitric oxide. And if there's one molecule every man over 50 should know about, it's nitric oxide. This is the molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and open up. It's literally the same pathway that those blue pills target. The difference is, you're supporting it naturally every single morning with something that costs about 15 cents a day. Think of it this way. If your blood vessels are stiff garden hoses, nitric oxide is what makes them flexible again. It lets blood move through freely instead of being forced through rigid pipes. And this isn't some new discovery. The Aztecs figured this out centuries ago. They called cocoa the food of the gods because they noticed what it did for vitality and stamina. Turns out they were onto something. I had another patient, a 61-year-old retired engineer from Texas, who'd been dealing with fatigue and low drive for years. He'd tried supplements, he'd tried adjusting his sleep schedule, nothing really stuck. I told him to add a teaspoon of cocoa powder to his morning coffee. 1 month later, he told me he felt sharper at work, had more energy in the evenings, and noticed a firmness he hadn't experienced in a long time. He looked at me and said, "Doc, you're telling me a spoonful of chocolate powder did what 3 different supplements couldn't." And I said, "It's not chocolate, it's cocoa. And yeah, sometimes the simple stuff works best. 1 teaspoon stirred into your coffee. It turns it into a rich dark mocha. Tastes great. And behind the scenes, it's supporting your nitric oxide production and your circulation." Change number 3. Add a teaspoon of coconut oil. This one surprises a lot of guys, but it makes perfect sense when you understand the science. Coffee by itself gives you a sharp caffeine spike followed by a crash. But when you pair it with a healthy fat like coconut oil, it slows down the absorption of caffeine. Instead of a 30-minute buzz followed by a nosedive, you get a steady, smooth energy release that lasts for hours. But here's the bigger reason. Coconut oil provides medium-chain fatty acids, which are building blocks your body uses to produce and stabilize hormones, including testosterone. After 50, testosterone naturally declines, and when it drops too low, everything suffers. Energy, mood, confidence, and yes, morning performance. By giving your body the raw materials it needs, you're supporting that hormonal balance from the inside out. One of my longtime patients, a 62-year-old retired high school coach from Ohio, was dealing with energy crashes by lunchtime every single day. He started adding a teaspoon of coconut oil to his morning coffee. Within a couple weeks, he said his energy stayed consistent through the afternoon. But what really got his attention was that his overall mood and drive improved in ways he wasn't expecting. He told me he felt like himself again for the first time in years. And honestly, the coconut oil makes your coffee taste richer and creamier, almost like a latte. So it's not some unpleasant thing you have to choke down. Most guys actually prefer it once they try it. Start with 1 teaspoon, stir it in well or blend it for 10 seconds if you have a small blender, and let your body do the rest. Now, change number 4 is different from the first 3 because it's got nothing to do with what you add to your cup. It's about when you drink it. Most guys pour their coffee the second they roll out of bed. Empty stomach, no food, just straight caffeine. And I get it, that's how most of us were raised. Coffee first, everything else second. But here's the problem. When you hit your system with caffeine on an empty stomach, your cortisol spikes hard. Cortisol is your body's main stress hormone. And in the morning, it's already naturally elevated. Pile coffee on top of that, and you've got a cortisol overload. And high cortisol is basically testosterone's enemy. They compete for the same resources in your body, and when cortisol wins, testosterone loses. That means less energy, weaker mornings, and a general feeling of being run down. The fix is dead simple. Eat something small first, a boiled egg, a handful of almonds, some Greek yogurt, even a banana with peanut butter. Just get a little food in your stomach before that first sip of coffee. By doing this, you buffer the caffeine absorption, you keep cortisol from spiking, and you protect your testosterone levels. I've had patients tell me this one change alone made a noticeable difference in how they felt by mid-morning. Change number 5. If you really want to take this to the next level, add a teaspoon of maca powder. Maca is a root vegetable from the Andes Mountains in Peru. People down there have been using it for centuries as a natural vitality booster. and modern research is starting to back up what they've known all along. Studies suggest Maca can support sexual desire, energy levels, and hormonal balance in men. I had a patient in his late 50s, a businessman from Chicago, who was skeptical about everything natural. He'd been through the whole pharmaceutical route and didn't love the side effects. I suggested he try adding a teaspoon of maca to his morning coffee alongside the cinnamon and cocoa. He gave me a look like I was crazy, but he agreed to try it for a month. For the first couple weeks, he didn't notice much. But by week 4, he called my office and said he had more energy during the day and more consistency in the mornings than he'd had in years. He described it as a slow burn that gradually brought things back online. That's exactly how Maca works. It's not an overnight fix. It conditions your body over time, nudging your hormones and your energy back toward where they used to be. The flavor is nutty and a little earthy. Blended with cinnamon and cocoa, it actually rounds out the taste nicely. 1 teaspoon in your morning coffee, and over the course of a few weeks, it quietly supports your testosterone and your overall vitality. Now, let me give you the complete recipe so there's no confusion. Here's exactly what you do every morning. First, eat a light breakfast, eggs, yogurt, oatmeal, whatever you like. Then brew your regular coffee. Into that coffee, stir half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of coconut oil, and if you've got it, 1 teaspoon of Maca powder. Stir it well or give it a quick blend and drink it. That's it. 5 minutes, 5 ingredients, and you're giving your body a foundation it can actually work with. I want to be real with you about expectations because I don't believe in overpromising. This isn't a magic pill. You're not going to drink 1 cup of this coffee and suddenly feel like you're 25 again. That's not how the body works. What you're doing is reconditioning your system. You're retraining your blood vessels to be more flexible. You're giving your hormones the support they need. You're stabilizing your energy instead of spiking and crashing all day. Some guys notice subtle changes in the first week. A little more energy, a little more firmness in the mornings. For most, the real difference shows up between weeks 2 and 4. I tell all my patients the same thing. Give it at least 30 days of consistent use and pay attention to the small wins along the way. That extra energy at 3 p.m. when you'd normally be dragging, that steadier mood, that quiet confidence. Those are all signs your body is responding. And remember, these 5 changes aren't meant to work in isolation. They layer on top of each other. Cinnamon stabilizes blood sugar, cocoa boosts nitric oxide, coconut oil supports hormones, the timing protects testosterone. Maca nourishes long-term vitality. Together, they don't just add up, they multiply. A few safety notes before I let you go, because I'd be a lousy doctor if I didn't mention these. More is not better. Don't dump 3 tablespoons of cinnamon into your coffee, thinking you'll get faster results. Start with the amounts I mentioned and stick with them. Too much cinnamon can upset your stomach. Too much caffeine can raise your blood pressure or give you the jitters. And if you're on medication for blood pressure, diabetes, or cholesterol, talk to your doctor before making changes. Cinnamon and cocoa can interact with blood sugar levels and blood pressure medications. Coconut oil adds calories and fat, which some men need to watch. Be smart about it. Start slow. Let your body adjust. I also want you to think beyond the coffee cup. Drink a glass of water first thing in the morning before your coffee. Your body loses nearly a liter of fluid overnight through breathing and sweating, and starting the day dehydrated makes your blood thicker and your circulation sluggish. Eat foods that support nitric oxide, things like beets, spinach, and leafy greens. Get your omega-3s from salmon or walnuts, and do a few minutes of kegel exercises every day. Those pelvic floor muscles are directly involved in maintaining erections, and they weaken with age just like any other muscle. A little daily practice goes a long way. Gentlemen, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and if there's one thing I want you to walk away with today, it's this. Decline is not inevitable. I know the world tells you to just accept it, that after 50, it's all downhill. But I've seen too many men prove that wrong. I've watched guys in their 60s and 70s turn things around with nothing more than a few smart daily habits. Your body wants to work. You just have to give it the right support. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, pick just one of these changes and try it. Add the cinnamon. Stir in the cocoa. Eat breakfast before your coffee. Just one thing. Do it for 30 days and watch what happens. And when you start noticing a difference, and you will, come back here and tell me about it. Drop a comment, share your experience, because your story might be the thing that gives another man the push he needs to start. I'm Dr. Grace Holloway, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.